Hi, it's Luann Pierce. I'm here to talk to you about some things that we don't usually talk about. Are you having any problems in your relationship with intimacy? How's your sex life? How are things going for you in the bedroom and otherwise? These are the kinds of questions that we'll be answering in this upcoming video. So stay tuned and see what you can learn. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Luann Pierce. We're going to talk to you over the next 3 mini videos about the problems that couples report as being the most difficult relationship issues that they address. First, I want to remind you that there is a webinar coming up that you can register for if you haven't already. There's a link below that you can click on that'll take you to a registration page. You can choose the date and times that work for you and get registered for that webinar. It will have much more in-depth information than we'll be able to go through in a 10-minute video. But we hope that you will join us for that to get more information about the things that couples are most interested in. So the first thing we're going to talk about is sex. Sex is on the minds of many couples, and there are a lot of good reasons for that. I think one of the biggest issues that we're facing as couples when it comes to sex would be the expectations. Expectations would need to be adapted as relationships mature and grow. And in some cases, we're simply working on old, outdated ideas about how our relationship and our sex life should be. So I would encourage you, first of all, to think about your expectations. When you were young and falling in love and everything was new and exciting, it made sense to have sexual intimacy more frequently, sometimes every day, more than once a day, during that period of time. A lot of that is driven by hormones. There's a hormone released with women, particularly, called oxytocin, that's called the cuddle hormone. And that is the bonding hormone. So when women are bonding with their babies or with a new partner, this oxytocin is responsible for the the depth and intensity of the relationship. So, in the early stages of a relationship, you'll see more of that. As the relationship begins to stabilize and things begin to normalize with you as a couple, you'll have less of that. So, one of the things to look at then would be your expectations. There are other things as well that you want to think about if you're concerned about your sex life. Let's start with the obvious, which is the physical aspect of things. It's important if you're having relationship issues with regard to sex that both of you get checked out, get a physical, talk to your doctor. If one or both of you has a low interest in sex, a low sex drive, having difficulty performing um, in any kind of sexual dysfunction, you certainly want to talk about that. There are a lot of things that are influencing our sexual performance, and they may be health related, high blood pressure, diabetes, things like that, that you may or may not intentionally consider to be related to your sex life are definitely related to your sex life. So you want to get that checked out. Sometimes the medications that you are taking can also affect your sex life. So you would want to ask any of your doctors that prescribe medication for you if the medications that you're taking may be causing sexual side effects. This is especially true of different types of antidepressants, and many of them list sexual side effects as one of the problems. In that case, you might talk to your doctor who's prescribing that medicine and ask for an alternative. At this time, Wellbutrin is the one that I think is best known to have no sexual side effects, but there are others. So get checked out, make sure you're healthy, and make sure that none of your medications are causing problems for you sexually. And by the way, I would just add that sometimes that includes not being able to come to orgasm, particularly with antidepressants. So you definitely want to talk about that. The other area, of course, is in the sexual arena are hormonal changes and fluctuations. So you would also want to get tested to get your hormone levels tested if there's a low sex drive or low interest in sex, maybe sometimes a lot of fatigue. Women often have a lot of hormonal fluctuations throughout their life cycle. Things like having babies and just going through perimenopause and menopause, which can be a 10-year stretch or longer, can definitely affect your sex drive and your interest in sex. So those are some of the things that you might consider also. Men also have low testosterone, which can affect their interest and ability in sex drive. So you want to get both of you get checked out in terms of the hormonal issues. Then there are emotional issues that can contribute to this problem, and they include a lot of things. A lot of women in particular say that they are not interested in sex unless they are having an emotionally intimate relationship. And that's true of some men as well. So, if that's the case, you need to learn how to meet your partner or your spouse's emotional needs so that you are connected emotionally, not just during the time that you want to have sex, but all the time. And you do that by learning more about your partner, find out how they get their emotional needs met, and make it your business to meet his or her emotional needs. And that goes for both of you. So you want to make sure that you're connecting emotionally and have a strong emotional connection to ensure that there may be more of a sexual intimacy as well. There may be performance anxiety or things like that that could be affecting your sex life, and depression. Certainly, when people are depressed, it affects their sex life. So there are many emotional issues. Also, a lot of anxiety around performance or something like that. So those emotional issues need to be addressed as well. A lot of times, even partners that have been together for a very long time, if one partner is having difficulty, um, instead of talking about the performance issues, they just avoid sex. And that doesn't solve the problem, obviously, and it can create a lot more. So definitely, if you're having performance issues, they may or may not be related to anxiety or depression, but it's something that you want to talk about and see if you can understand what's going on. Once you've ruled out the health issues, the hormonal issues, then you would want to look at emotional issues. And along the same lines, there are environmental things that can also affect your relationship and your sex life. And that means things like simply not having enough time, being exhausted at the end of the day, having children present so that there's no privacy. And in those cases, you need to really problem solve together and find some solutions. So find a sitter or grandparents, aunts and uncles, neighbors who are willing to take care of your kids so you can have some time together. You must make your relationship a priority. It's a critical component, and that means having the kids go away on Friday night or Saturday night so that you have time to spend some time together as a couple, whether you dine in or go out. When you come home, you will plan to have an intimate sexual encounter and build up the excitement. While you may lose some spontaneity when you have to start planning your sex life, you still forge that connection, and that's what you're needing more so than the spontaneity that you may have had earlier. The reality is when we have jobs and kids and a lot of other responsibilities. Things aren't as carefree as they once were, but make it your business to make your relationship a priority. So I'll be with you in the next video, and we'll be talking about money. Thank you. Talk to you then.